Hello everyone and welcome to lesson 8.1A. I've entitled this video Geography and Climate of Brazil. This video is going to cover pages 240 to 245. Physical Geography of Brazil. Waterways and landforms. Brazil is the largest country in South America. It occupies about half the continent. Rolling lowland plains and flat highland plateaus cover most of the country. And now we can answer question number 1 on the worksheet. What is the largest country in South America? Brazil. The Amazon. The Amazon River is one of Brazil's amazing natural features, as well as a great natural resource. It begins high in the Andes of Peru and flows east across northern Brazil to the Atlantic Ocean. The river is the Western Hemisphere's longest river and the world's second longest after the Nile River in Africa. And I have a little chart here that shows you the longest rivers in the world. Question number 2. What is the second largest river in the world and the longest in the Western Hemisphere? It is the Amazon River. The Amazon is the largest river in terms of the amount of fresh water it carries. It moves more than 10 times the water volume of the Mississippi River. Of all the water that Earth's rivers empty into the oceans, about 25% comes from the Amazon. Its massive flow pushes fresh water more than 100 miles out into the Atlantic Ocean. The river's depth allows ocean-going ships to travel more than 2,000 miles upstream to unload or pick up cargo. Question number 3. In what way is the Amazon River the largest river in the world? Well, it is in the terms of the amount of fresh water that it carries. The Amazon Basin. One reason the Amazon carries so much water is that it has more than 1,000 tributaries. These smaller rivers feed into the Amazon as it flows from the Andes to the Atlantic Ocean, and you can see that pictured on the map over here. Several tributaries are more than 1,000 miles long. Question number 4. What is or are a tributary or tributaries? A tributary is a small river that flows into a larger river or lake. The area that a river and its tributaries drain is called a basin. The Amazon basin covers more than 2 million square miles, and you can see that pictured on the map here. All that is the Amazon basin. Nearly half of Brazil's land lies within this vast region. Its wet lowlands cover most of the country's northern and western areas. Question number 5. What is a basin? Well, a basin is an area that a river and its tributaries drain into. Much of the Amazon basin is covered by the world's largest rainforest. A rainforest is a warm woodland that receives a great deal of rain each year. Tall evergreen trees form a canopy or an umbrella-like covering. The Amazon rainforest is called the selva. It is the world's richest biological resource. The selva is home to several million kinds of plants, insects, birds, and other animals. Question number 6. What is a rainforest? A rainforest is a warm woodland that receives a great deal of rain each year. Number 7. What is a canopy? A canopy is an umbrella-like covering. Question 8. Why is the Amazon rainforest, the selva, important for planet Earth? Well, it is home to the world's richest biological resources. It's got several million kinds of plants, insects, birds, and other animals. Only about 6% of Brazil's population live in the Amazon basin. Most of the region contains fewer than 2 people per square mile. Some are Native Americans who live in small villages and have little contact with the outside world. And take a look at this map over here. This shows population density. So long story short, even though I'm colorblind, the darker the color means more people per square mile live there. So in this color that I have no clue what it is, in these areas, there aren't very many people living there because of the dense rainforest of Brazil. But you can see along the coast areas, especially down here, there are a lot of people that live in that part of Brazil. Question number 9. Why do you think About 6% of Brazil's population live in the Amazon basin. That is a thinking question. I kind of gave you a clue just a couple of seconds ago. So think about it and write down your answer. Why do you think not a lot of people live in this area here of Brazil? Brazilian highlands. South and east of the Amazon basin are the Brazilian highlands. This is mainly a region of rolling hills and areas of high, flat land called plateaus. These highlands are divided into western and eastern parts. The western part of the highlands is largely grassland that is partly covered with shrubs and small trees. Farming and ranching are the major economic activities in this part of the highlands. Farther west is the Mato Grosso Plateau, a flat, sparsely populated area of forest and grasslands that extend into Bolivia and Peru. Question number 10. What is a plateau? That is an area of rolling hills, that is an area of high, flat land. Question number 11. How do Brazilians make a living in the western part of the highlands? Well, they make their money through farming and ranching. Low mountain ranges form much of the eastern Brazilian highlands, pictured here. Although some peaks rise above 7,000 feet, in other places, highland plateaus plunge to the Atlantic coast, forming escarpments or steep slopes. These escarpments, rising from coast to highlands, have hindered development of inland areas. Brazil's third largest city, Brasilia, is located in the Brazilian highlands, and you can see that pictured right here. It was built in the 1950s as Brazil's new capital to encourage settlement in the country's interior. Some 3.5 million people live in and around the city. Question number 12. What is an escarpment? That is a steep slope. Question 13. Why did Brazil move their capital in the 1950s to Brasilia? Well, they were trying to encourage people to move more to the inland, to the interior of the country, and start to grow that part of the country. Kind of like the way that in our country's history we moved out to the west and tried to expand and explore into that area and to settle there. They were trying to encourage the people of Brazil to, hey, let's move to this part of Brazil and let's build homes and have a lot of people live there instead. About 600 miles south of Brasilia is Sao Paulo. This huge city is located on a plateau at the highlands' eastern edge, just 30 miles from the Atlantic coast. With more than 17 million people, Sao Paulo is the largest city in the southern hemisphere. It is also South America's most important industrial city. And when we look at the cities of the world that are the biggest, you have Tokyo, Japan at number 1, you have Delhi, India at number 2, Shanghai, China, number 3, Dhaka, Bangladesh at 4, and Sao Paulo at number 5 at over 22.8 million people. This book was printed a couple years ago. This is a current stat. It has got over 22, it's almost close to 23 million people by now. Question number 14. What are 2 reasons why Sao Paulo could be considered the most important city in Brazil? Well, number 1, it is by far the most populated city in Brazil, the most populated city in the Southern Hemisphere, and it also is South America's most important industrial city. So they make a lot of money in Sao Paulo. Farther south are grassy, treeless plains called pampas. The grass and fertile soil make the pampas one of Brazil's most productive ranching and farming areas. Number 15, what are the pampas? They are grassy, treeless plains, and you can see a couple pictures of these pampas right there. Question 16. Why are the pampas a great place for farming and ranching? Because they have grass to graze for animals, and they have fertile soil, which is always good for growing crops. Atlantic lowlands. Brazil has one of the longest strips of coastal plains in South America, wedged between the Brazilian highlands and the Atlantic Ocean. This narrow plains region, called the Atlantic lowlands, is just 125 miles wide in the north. It becomes even narrower in the southeast. The rural parts of this region are another important area for farming. Although the coastal lowlands cover only a small part of Brazil's territory, most of the nation's people live here. More than 12 million people live in and around Rio de Janeiro, Brazil's second largest city. Rio's beautiful beaches and vibrant lifestyle make it Brazil's cultural and tourist center. Question number 18. What are two reasons why Rio de Janeiro could be considered the second most important city in Brazil? Well, it has the second most people at over 12 million. And of course, this book was printed years ago, so it's even more than that now. But also, it is a tourist center. It has beautiful beaches, and people from around the world want to go to Rio to vacation there. A tropical climate. Most of Brazil is located in the tropics. This is the zone along Earth's equator that lies between the Tropic of Cancer, pictured here, and the Tropic of Capricorn, pictured here. So everything in between here is called the tropics. Brazil's climate varies. In fact, the huge country has several different climates. So question number 19. Where are the tropics located on a globe? I just showed you. It is between the Tropic of Cancer, which is north of the equator, and south of the equator at the Tropic of Capricorn. Everywhere in between there, we call that the tropics. Wet rainforest. The area along the equator in northern Brazil has a tropical rainforest climate. In this climate, every day is warm and wet. Daytime temperatures average in the 80s Fahrenheit. It feels hotter than this because the wet rainforest makes the air humid. Areas along the Amazon River have a tropical rainforest climate. They experience winds called monsoons that bring a huge amount of rain, 120 inches to 140 inches per year. During the monsoon season, flooding swells the Amazon River in some places to more than 100 miles wide. These areas also have a dry season when little rain occurs. During the dry season, forest fires are a danger, even in a rainforest. Question number 20. How do monsoons affect Brazil? Well, they bring huge amounts of rain that can then sometimes cause flooding. Lots of rain caused in this area because of monsoons. Tropical wet dry climate. Tropical wet dry climates usually exist along the outer edges of tropical rainforest climates. Most of the northern and central Brazilian highlands has a tropical wet dry climate. This climate has just two seasons, summer, which is wet, and winter, which is dry. Daily average temperatures change very little. Summers average in the 70 Fahrenheit range and winters in the 60 Fahrenheit range. But even this slight difference is enough to change wind patterns, which affect rainfall. Between 40 inches and 70 inches of rain fall during the summer months. Winters get almost no rain, and you can see this pictured here. It shows you that information. Describe some of the elements of the tropical wet dry climate at the northern and central Brazilian highlands. So you can see those right there. There basically is only two seasons, summer and winter. Summer is wet, winter is dry. The temperatures don't seem to get below 70 Fahrenheit or above, or below 60. So not huge changes in climate. And you see definitely some rain between 40 and 70 inches in the summer months, but winter doesn't get a lot of rain at all. Dry and temperate climates. The northeastern part of the Brazilian highlands has a semi-arid climate. This region is the hottest and driest part of the country. The daily high temperature during the summer often reaches 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Frequent and severe droughts have caused many of the region's farms to fail. Even so, the desert-like plant life supports some light ranching. Southeastern Brazil, including São Paulo and Rio de Janeiro, is located in the temperate zone, the region between the Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle. So here's the Tropic of Capricorn, and here's the Antarctic Circle line. And here we have a temperate climate called humid subtropical. It is the same type of climate that the southeastern United States experiences. Temperatures vary according to location and elevation in this part of Brazil. Summers are generally warm and humid, and winters are mild. Rainfall occurs year-round. In the southern parts of this climate zone, snow can fall. Question number 22. What has caused many of the farms in the northeastern Brazilian highlands to fail? Frequent and severe droughts. not having enough rain. And question number 23. Where is the temperate zone located on a globe? It is located between the Tropic of Capricorn and the Antarctic Circle. So in this area right here, we have the temperate zone. Well, thank you so much for watching. Before we go, I have a little meme for you. I try to have a meme or a joke or some sort of cartoon at the end of each video. The Amazon River. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.